is Aaron Squire coming to you guys with another dev blog this week. Today is the 3rd of August in 2014, and honestly I've been slacking quite a bit on doing stuff and getting stuff done. Luckily though, I have Chris DeLeon to kind of get me back on track. So he sent me some files, and so I'm just going to show you what I ended up doing first off. So basically I had to do some scripting in here, and so what we wanted to do is select these guys, and I was actually having a big problem with the selection box to begin with. Like, I could get the first point and the other point would come up, so it looks pretty good, like the selection box is going to go, but if I go off this direction it'll kind of like fly off and different, which could actually be a fun game all on its own. I guess that could be a thing you could do, but so that's about as far as I've really gotten. So I'm just going to go ahead and transition to show you exactly what he sent me, the final product. So I went through and he sent me how to do the scripts and stuff, and I didn't want to just cut and paste and try to like do things out. I wanted to work through it first. So let's go ahead and go in here, open scene, and it's going to be under, I have it under Unity plugins, and so we'll just do checkpoint 2 because this is the easiest one. It's going to be checkpoint 2 assets. You go into assets and you click on this, and it's going to ask me to open up another one. We're going to open up Unity again here. This will take a quick second. I'll probably edit this in post-production maybe. And you can see that he's got the same things, like the two boxes there, or the two things to select, and then a box, and you hit play and it swaps over, and you can see I can select one or I can select the other one. If I right click, it moves them. So this is what I'm attempting to do, and just getting the selection box to work has been a little bit troublesome, but I have learned a lot. So one of the big things that I learned with this was, like, if we come down here into the player code, I already knew you had to drop this in on an empty object. I already knew that, but on top of that, you have to whenever you have the code, it'll have this, and you put a variable in there, it'll have this on there. So for a while, like, I had the code and I was trying to get a sphere to move around, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't go. So what you should do is pull up the console, I found out, and now I'll show you the errors, and the errors kind of led me back to seeing that I hadn't assigned the variable in the script. So let's look at the script real quick. So it's coming up in mono develop here. Actually, this is probably not the right. Yeah, we want player click script. That's the one we want. Yeah, that's selection box. We want the player click script, which would be in player code. Yeah, you can see under this you've got the script, which is player click, and then its selection box is selection box, which matches this. So in order to do that, you just come here and do this thing, and then you find it on your scene. Going back to the mono develop, which is the script writer. So I actually followed this to the letter to get the box to move, and for a while, like, I couldn't even get the corners to show up properly, and eventually I just got frustrated, and what we started off with, that's what I ended up with. Like, I copied in the player click, and then I commented out some of the other parts of it just to see if I could get it to work properly. I have no idea why it didn't work. Like, I had the script to the letter exactly like how it was supposed to be from what he sent me in the thing, but I guess that's just trial and error. There's probably some other setting I'm missing. I feel like in Unity has nothing to do with the scripting, because the scripting was all exactly the same. But I'm really pretty happy with this, learning some things, and I noticed that I've started to have a better understanding of exactly what it is that is supposed to be happening with the script. So, like, for instance, I know now that, like, void update gets updated like every frame, and before I really didn't get a concept of what that was. I now know that, like, vector 3 is a 3-point spot in space, and it is asking for 3 variables. So, like, we've got cursor, loop, corner, and then this one is going to be a constant 1, and then this one's going to be the Z. Just found out a lot of different things, so it's coming along. I feel pretty good about it. Chris says he's going to do a tutorial on it pretty soon, so that'll be definitely something I look forward to personally. So definitely, if you're trying to develop an RTS like I am in Unity, or a game with RTS type mechanics, then definitely check that out when it comes up. But this is where it all starts. It all starts with simple objects, being able to select those objects and move them around, and then the next thing will be combat. I don't actually, for my game, need to select multiple objects, so this selection box isn't as useful for me personally, but I felt like it was something I really still wanted to know. The next thing is going to be basically having it so I can set like a flag down as a waypoint and then start time, and then they can actually move to it. But before that, actually, I want to see a collision between these. I want to have like an error script that shows me that, so that way I can link that when that happens to some sort of combat, and then link that out to multiple units within these. They'll be like a unit will be comprised of multiple things. On top of that, I picked up some board games recently, and I started playing X-Wing, the miniatures game, and that actually gave me some good ideas for how to develop my combat for this game, because they do opposed roles. And so I was thinking about that and how interesting that would be to have like where the player would know that this thing scored like X amount of hits and this had X amount of evades, and so because of that, like either the attacker hits the defender or the defender blocks the attacker. I thought that was pretty interesting way of doing things that they had in there. And on top of that, the way X-Wing works is kind of how I want to set up my RPG system, where like you'll give your units commands in this like RTS setting, and so like I'll tell it to go over here, and then I'll start the day, and then all the units will move at the same time, and you won't be able to tell them in midday like to go in a different direction. So it's kind of like you kind of have to second guess thing, and that's exactly how X-Wing works, because everyone does all their movements in secret, and they flip up their movement, and then you move all the stuff in a specific order. Of course, we're talking about a video game, so we can have everything run at real time, and so that way when things get in combat, they can resolve the combat and do all that stuff. So I think it'll be pretty fun. I really don't have a name for it yet. It's going to be very similar to Ogre Battle, but obviously some different changes. I definitely want it to be faster, so hopefully I can just keep plugging away at this and get to a place where we can get something really, really working beyond this. But this is where it all starts. So until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless you and your families, and try not to reach too much out there.